So if Ashwini is the nakshatra where the consciousness and awareness are actually meeting and then created the entire universe, let us say, then of course mythologically they represented with some Sanjana and Surya, and then they mating, and then finally the Ashwini Kumaras, which are actually are basically they are the creation and healing. Both are representing these two aspects of the nature. So then only the life will continue, because the life should be supported by healing, and also healing should be supported by life. Then only the whole universe expansion and the whole thing continues. The whole thing basically grows. So in that case, and you're thinking Ashwini is the creative spark where this consciousness and awareness are actually they were united, and finally we saw the life force. So in the form of Ashwini Kumaras, the two is duality, that is life and healing, as a dual nature, the Prakriti and Purusha, you can say. So the whole life can continue only with duality, right? And then what is Bharani here? So next, after Ashwini, you're seeing Bharani. So if you see Ashwini as the primal spark of creation, then Bharani is just after creation begins. Just what happens after creation begins. So Ashwini is basically the spark, the beginning of life. So it started with consciousness and awareness meeting with each other. Of course, initially they were in the big they were in the same space. They were united, they were in a big flash, but later awareness came out of that big flash and consciousness followed it. It's something like Prakriti came out of that big flash and Purusha followed it, or Sanjana came out of it and Surya followed it. So their union births what we call them as Ashwini Kumaras. So the first breath of life, the first impulse of movement, we say. So Ashwini Nakshatra basically signifies that activation, that impulsive spark, that healing energy, the spark that awakens matter into life is Ashwini Nakshatra. But it is not a matured or it's a formed life. It is a spark that initiates the existence. So what must happen next for this whole creation to move? Once life begins, it must grow, it must be nourished, it must learn to contain itself, it must develop form, it must develop some boundaries, it must develop some order. So creation cannot expand wildly without structure. Otherwise, it collapses. Without structure, if it is continuing, it is going to be collapsed. So the next phase is the power of holding, is the power of containing, and power of sustaining life. That is Bharani basically. So Bharani in the Vedic astrology, that's why it is represented as the cosmic womb. It's a cosmic womb, or we generally symbolize it with yoni. It's a female reproductive organ we represent it with. And the ruler is Yama. Why Yama here? See, Yama should not be seen as god of death here. He is the god of dharma. He is the god of regulation. He is the god of boundaries, because we need that firm boundaries and order. We need someone who is the preserver of order. So that's why the order is very much important. The structure is very much important. That's why we represent the ruler of Bharani with Yama. So Bharani is a womb that takes the spark from Ashwini and holds it, shapes it, nourishes it. That's why Venus is the planetary ruler of Bharani. So if Ashwini is actually, if Ashwini is the seed, then you say Bharani is the soil. If Ashwini is the spark of life, then Bharani is the womb that protects and forms life into a being. So generally, people often misunderstand Yama as death, but here in this particular context, Yama is the boundary, Yama is that containment, the law that gives shape into life. So womb must be closed, it must be a protected dark space. If the womb is open, life cannot form at all, right? So if the whole universal energy has no structure, creation dissolves. So structure is very much important, that too a lawful structure, a boundary based structure. It should have some proper limits, it should have some discipline, order, time for growth. Everything is needed. That's where this Yama is coming into the picture, and Yama is actually ensuring all this. So here Yama is actually ensuring those proper limits and discipline and the order and the structure. So it's something like the universe is initially started with that initial spark, that is Ashwini, and after that a kind of containment was required, and that's what Bharani is. So Ashwini is the spark of creation, whereas Bharani is the containment and gestation area. So Ashwini is where the life begins, and Bharani is where life must be carried, it must be contained, it must be nourished. That's where the planetary ruler Venus is coming into the picture here. So this is the cosmic birth process. So Ashwini is the idea of the universe, but Bharani is the pregnancy of the universe. That's where this symbolism, the cosmic symbolism is coming into the picture. So Bharani is the sacred, disciplined space that receives the Ashwini's spark and forms it into a sustainable living existence. So it is the power to carry, it is the power to nurture, it is the power to protect and mature life within some proper boundaries. So without Bharani, the Ashwini spark, it just burns out because there is no container, right? If Bharani is not present, then there is no container. With Bharani, life becomes a structured creation. Then thereby it is capable of some growth. So the creation, it's a structured creation capable of growth by Bharani. So Ashwini is actually beginning the life, but Bharani holds and shapes it into form. So the Yama that people are telling the deity of Bharani is, it should not be a lord of death at all, right? So because when you say lord of death, you just see that it's destruction, it's ending, it's a kind of fear. So that's not the original Vedic meaning at all. So Yama in Vedas is basically, it's primarily the guardian of dharma, it's the guardian of cosmic order. It's the one who sets boundaries, he's the regulator of flow. So it's something like Yama is the one who decides what is allowed to grow and what is not. Thereby the creation would happen, it will grow. So you need to understand here, life cannot unfold without limitations. So here you need to understand Yama is the law, it's the structure, it's the containment, it's the Om's discipline. Right? So Ashwini is the life beginning area, as the Bharani is the life contained area. It's a container, is an area of protection, you can say. But basically, this Yama is needed because the spark to for the spark to continue, it has to be the whole thing should be closed, it should be shielded, it should be dark enough to grow, it should be protected enough to grow, right? So if the womb is too open, then what happens? Life spills out and dies. It's not at all a good thing. If it is, right, it should not be open. So Bharani symbolizes that perfect balance between the containment and nourishment. So in Vedic terminology, Yama is nothing but the architect of order. He's the keeper of boundaries. So Yama is very, very much required. This control is required. This self-discipline, this boundary is very, very much required. Yama is actually a kind of principle, you can say. Instead of seeing Yama as a person, Yama as a lord or a god, you can see it as a principle of limits and order. It's not death at all. It's not death at all. It's a regulation that allows life to exist in harmony. Right? So you can think of Yama energy as the containment of the Ashwini spark. Is the Om space discipline. Is a boundary that allows life to mature safely. So without Yama, there is no life. You need to understand that. Yama is that law, that's order, that containment. It's not at all death, it's not at all fear that you have. Getting it? So thanks for watching this video. We'll try to understand this nakshatra energies in this with the help of what our Vedic sages actually said about this nakshatras and all. It's a very great and enlightenment subject, Vedic astrology. It's not what you're thinking, especially the nakshatra astrology. Our ancient rishis they hid the secrets of the universe in Vedic astrology. Thanks for watching this video.